All right, guys. So welcome back. Welcome back. This is going to be a pretty lengthy video, so I'm gonna try to just get right into it. I got an hour and 40-minute trade session that I reduced to 23 minutes, I want to say. So I just kind of hit on the highlights in terms of trades, good and bad. Again, just reminder, these trades are all it's based on how I'm trying to do things and responsibly because I want to put out responsible styles of trading. So like my other videos, I was always using overage and then I'm using like larger amounts because my actual goals were smaller, I guess, and so I didn't care. But when I'm like doing the numbers on the back end in my head, I'm like, man, I'm having, in terms of success and not success with extra, I was not having as much success as I wanted to. So I was with those extra opportunities every day. Essentially, I'm like restarting, after if that makes sense. So you hit your goal again, and whatever overage you have, because you're never going to be spot on. So let's say you're $50 or $60 over your actual goal, I would just put all that up and be ready to, trade it. So, but I feel now more relaxed trading because if I'm 50 or 60 over, I'll probably take 20 of that and use that essentially to trade. And that way I'm always over when I'm starting my next day, which gives me a little level of comfort. All right. So with that said, you can withdraw daily. There's no need to, keep anything in there. I mean, I don't have any issues when I withdraw. I get all my money within a few hours. So it's very quick, at least on my end. But pocket option, I do want to say, is not a regulated broker. So when I found that out, I stopped thinking about that whole collecting into the account and keeping it there to make my ability to trade larger and in terms of comfortability. But realistically, you don't have to. So I kind of um, just wanted to highlight here, and this is for anybody, whatever realm you feel like you want to start in. If you want to take more risk, you're here. If you're kind of less risky, you're in these areas. All these are good money, okay? And these two here are for the people that don't want to do a lot of trades. So me personally, I did try that for a while. Yeah, I mean, it's not bad. You get two trades and pretty much you're done, and you just kind of scale up as you continue instead of trying to find essentially five or six good trades in a day. You're just trying to find two. So it is less stressful, I guess, in that point where you're just like trying to be done. But then obviously, if you miss, you have to understand you're in the red on both of these trades. So one miss can, on either front would be more detrimental to what you should be having into your account. So with that said, when you start off your account, you should have at least two times, at most three times of what your initial trade is to help check and balance yourself. Because at the end of the day, you want to make sure that you're earning, you don't want to be breaking even. You don't want to trade $50 to get to 100. So then all you're making really is $50 a day. Because if you miss one day, then you're back even. So you always want to make more than what you're trading. I mean, that obviously makes sense, right? A lot more. Okay. So to give yourself a chance, just in case you have a couple bad days or whatever, you're still in a profit. So you have to think of it that way. Don't get caught up on, hey, I missed this day. Because you have to understand, like, hey, if I did what I did on this one day, I should be good to miss a day or two if that happens. Okay. But control, is really what I want to push. You can go to some other videos and get like the full breakdown. I just wanted to provide you with this to let you know, hey, if your goal is $150, you can get there with starting off with just $15 trades. Okay, so $15 trade account should be at least $40, so you give yourself three chances. $45, I'm sorry, so you can give yourself at least three chances. And then if you're here, I mean, this is a little bit, I wouldn't recommend this route until you're really comfortable. This is another one. So $60 account, start off with 20, give yourself three chances. Just get you to 181 if a day, essentially if you're following this. So you're doing 20, 20, 20, moving up to 25, 25, and then 30, 30, 30. Okay. And you can stop wherever you want to or secure as much as you want to. Once you get over like your minimal. So that's kind of what I do. But yeah, these are all just good guys to follow. Just letting you know that you don't have to have a lot to get to where you want to be. Just remember, take the money out the account every day. I don't know, pay off something immediately with it so you don't be forced to blow it on something stupid. Because the thing is, this is supposed to be something to help you to accumulate your personal account so you can get to these larger numbers in the long run. So you don't want to be stuck making the same amount of money, especially if you're really successful with this, because none of this is bad, okay? But $100 a day even is $700 if you're trading Monday to Sunday, okay? So all of it adds up. All of it could be beneficial, and so whatever you want to do is completely up to you. However many days out the week you want to trade, completely up to you. Okay, so let's get to it. I'm not going to delay any further. Let's get to the live trades. Okay, guys. So normally I try to zoom in enough so you can see what's important, and because of that, it's a little further away. But I wanted you guys to see the account size because essentially your few trades missing. So essentially, I started off with $15. Or I'm sorry, it was around 10 actually, but I started to record late. Okay, I forgot to think about recording the overage. So with that said, well, I mean, we're at $26 right now. You missed a few trades, but I wanted you guys to see this because essentially I grew this to $100. I think it was like 102 or something, but doing very small trading amounts, which is something that I do not recommend at all because the way that you do this and do this right is by compounding your earnings. This approach is why it took an hour and 30 or 40 minutes. And again, this video technically is 22 minutes of me editing, or my edited time of just the action. Okay. But again, with these moments when you have overage, you can take more riskier approaches, and that also helps you to learn too. Because, like I said, trading just one style is fine when you are like doing your fresh, day money, but like your overage, I mean, you want to have a few styles of trading, okay? And that way you can really maximize potential profits, but really you have to make sure you're compounding those profits because if you're not, this was kind of gruesome. And be doing this all day for that long period of time, I'm not really used to it. Like normally I'll have it up or something, but I'm not like actively, so it's tiring. And when you get tired, you make mistakes. I think I actually made a few here, clicking the wrong button and all that, but obviously I made up for it. So that's the benefit, right? If you know what you're doing, you know how to like recoup your losses. But anyway, I'm gonna go into it. I'm sorry it's not too zoomed in. I just want you guys to see everything, but in the future I'll go back to the prior format so you can see everything a lot clearer. So if you don't, I apologize. Hopefully it looks better on your end than how it's looking for me on mine. So let's get to it. And as always, I'm gonna go through the trade and then I'll go back to explain, good or bad, obviously. So again, we're using $5. We're doing 5-second increments. This one is process oriented. And you see this one did not work. Oh, if you guys been following, you know why, right? So I wish I could zoom in on this one, but let's just not play around with it. So if you saw where I entered, I'm gonna just go to the entry and I'll take it from there. So if you saw where I entered, you notice that at the one, I'm late. So you enter at the 3rd second one, but what I did not recognize, actually, let me go back to the 3rd second. So this is the 3rd second. So 3rd second, technically speaking, I guess if I did follow the process, it wasn't going to work anyway. And again, you want to be closer to the 2nd second than the third. So actually, that's three right there. So 3 seconds, and this is why I shouldn't even enter because it jumped up above. Oh yeah, so yeah, that was me. So I entered in too late, or I shouldn't even say entered in too late. I entered in when I shouldn't have because the price point at that point reached that middle blue line. Okay, so remember, yeah. So this is why it's important to be closer to the two than the three, so you can catch those opportunities. But it's not a big issue. We're gonna keep it rolling. Do I jump in back right here? That's I guess that's what I'm waiting on to see. Like, should I do it? And because again, normally I wouldn't recommend it, but like I said, overage, low amount, really don't care. So boom, got our money back that quick. Some of it, right? Because It's not dollar for dollar. Lost 5, got back 460. All right. So remember that 960 is the accumulated uh, of the what you pick, what you sent, or what you entered in it, and also what you returned. So um, here, I would say the difference between the two, right? So since you can see both sides, let me scroll back some, and I'm going to try not to do this too much. So this is the 4 second. Let me just stop it at the third. Okay. All right. So now you got both sides. So as you can see, this one, this third candle, the third red candle, remember it shot back up. On this third candle, we have strong candles on that's on both. So the first one is on both sides, so that's a good candle. The second one is strong as well, and the third one is within that zone. Okay, so remember we got that safety zone here, and you want to be in that green area. So somewhere on the top half of that, where that is really at the top. Anything over it starts to get a little risky. If it's over it a little, it's not a big issue. So that is why that one worked. And if I would have given the other one a second, I would have, if I would have been paying attention, I guess, better on the first one, I wouldn't have entered in at that one anyway. So yeah, so it happens. Not a big issue. So coming around, looking for more opportunity. So we got one that's barely in there. Then we got one big one that's crossing. Okay, so remember, so technically speaking, this one is touching and breaching, but it wasn't a good one, so I didn't really consider it as my one. I did this one because it's a nice size candle. 2, 3, you guys get it, all right? So we're gonna keep it rolling. I'm not going to overtop. So that one was a good trade based on process. This is similar to that one, but that third second is near the top. I entered anyway because I'm just doing $5 and it bit me in the butt, right? So hopefully you guys are taking mental notes of this. Follow your process. But again, with the overage, I generally don't care because again, this is just $5. So as you can see, and that's the good thing about having this process because if you're this is considered a blind trade. So remember I told you guys blind trading, you'll be more successful than not. But of course there's a not side of it. So um if I would have stuck to my guns and stayed out of this, right? Because it's in that so that's the green area. And remember, the green area you're going to have to gauge based off of your understanding of safe zones. So if you see it enough, hopefully you understand. But again, this is on the bottom half, but it's really right at the top of that middle line, which is where you don't want it to be. If it's not touching it actually, and as to be expected, it reversed and took me out. Now, what? Can you press a buy at that section or that moment to projected to go back down. I don't. You can, but I wouldn't recommend it just because. Um, yeah, I just wouldn't recommend it. All right, don't mix up your process too much. You have to stay consistent. Other parts to this one, because this is where I entered. If you can see, there's no cross. All right, so no cross on the MACD. This is crossed, and this is a new chart that I have not discussed with you guys yet. But that is something that one of my friends put me on to try to utilize to help time those reversals because like I said, I don't just use the crossover, I try to get reversals too. So I do have some reversals here. Essentially, when it gets around that 75, 25, it's kind of like the MACD. I mean, I think some people actually use it as a replacement of MACD because it's more accurate, but like I said, I use MACD, so I'm not going to not use it anymore. I just kind of look at everything, but it kind of works the same way as this oscillator. Essentially, as it goes over 75, there's a chance of reversal. As it goes under 25, it's a chance of a reversal. If it's above 50, you're looking at a cross. If it's below 50, there's a cross there. So, by all from what I see here, and as you can see, the information is conflicted, right? Because MACD is giving me still sell, right? or no, sorry, MACD is giving me still buy because the green is over the red, but the RSI tool is pointing upward, still on the sell side. So I mean, I guess technically that'd be a sell. So you have conflicting information, and then oscillator is pointing downward-ish, but still on the north side of that. So having too many tools can bite you. It's just something that I'm just looking into, so I'm not gonna like go too much into it until I know it's like something that I plan to keep. But I'm just being transparent. Want you guys to see it, and it's just something that I might bring to your attention later, in a later video. So for now, just leave it alone. So bomb that one because I didn't follow my own rules. Follow your rules. But again, it doesn't matter because this is overage. Only $5. Who cares? All right. So I'll move these quickly here for you. So sorry, I'm backed up some. That's the one that we already lost. So this is the one that you just saw hit. So as you can see, I did a late entry on this one on purpose because I felt like this was a fake out. Okay. Now that part, okay, when it comes to that part, now 5-second candles and support zones and stuff aren't really solid, but I use them anyway. All right. So I know with the 5-second mark, I have room, like wiggle room here, right? Um, I could have pressed it at the third second, but I wanted to see what it was going to do. So the only reason, so once I saw it coming closer to two, I was going to wait to two or one to press it, to be honest. I, that's why I jumped in. Okay. So sometimes you just got to get a feel for what's happening. If it jumps up, it may jump back down. It is really a gut feeling thing. Now, normally speaking, if this was the first half of my day, I would not have done that. Okay. But overage, who cares? Coming in late with this one. First candle's pretty weak. So should have stayed out of it, but I didn't. Right. So first candle's weak. The bulk of the body is on the northern side of the channel. It's barely any in the south. If it was further down, then I would say this would be a good one to jump into. The other indication is, I mean, really that's it. Let me see. Yeah, because this is good. This is late. Hold on. Let me back up some. So when I actually enter to give you an accurate. So I was allowing it to scoot up some since it was. So there's a few reasons why you shouldn't have jumped in this one. First one being, let me go into this. So if this was your first half trade, I should say, you shouldn't jump into this because this is a week number one. You should have waited for another candle to form. It is really what it buckles down to. Okay. All of these are fine. I mean, this is evening out, but that's fine. That's because it's shooting back up. The only concern, honestly, is that I should have just kind of waited for another candle to form. I shouldn't have counted that first one as an actual candle. Okay. But I did because the wick was all the way down. But again, if this was first half of the day and I'm using fresh money, I would have stayed out of this one. Yeah, this one would have been stayed out of because that one is a green one and you don't trade against different colors. Okay, not intentionally. So now I'm trying to see if I get my money back. This is more of a feeling. And oh my goodness, I'm sorry. I did not mean to start that video over. Hold on. Let me go back and find that. I apologize. I ruined that. Surprise. So this was the one that we missed. And then I stayed back in it. Sorry, I was trying to pause it. And I jumped back in. All right, so this is a gut feeling one. This is not something I would recommend, but I'll explain why. Once it's clear, thank you. So my entry on this one was looking at the support zone. So I'll show it to you here shortly. This had nothing to do with anything else outside of support zone. So I click it, I'll press my button. Okay, so this is an experience thing. All right, it's not, not something that I've taken any numbers on, but remember I told you guys this is the support zone here. All right, you have a cluster of candles that are pushing back. Okay, so I assume that, and then this is a cluster of candles pushing down as well. So there's zones You can make as many zones as you want to. It just gets confusing, right? So don't overzone it, but just understand, like I said, this would be a gut feeling thing. If you're not comfortable with it, stay out of it, honestly. But that was my reason for doing that because I knew it would be going down at least, or I knew there was a good chance for it to continue to go down. And then if I'm looking at this here, these are some big, these are a nice big group of red candles. Okay, so big group of red candles, small green candles here. I knew there was going to go back down at some point. Did I know it was going to be 5 seconds? No, but I was, saying, hey, the probability of it doing it is greater than not. So I'm going to take that chance. It's only $5. Who cares? So got it. Boom. All right. So just realize, honestly, a lot of this checking out stuff that I'm doing is because I'm going against my actual process. If you guys have counted or kept track of it up to this point, yeah, I think the three or two or three that I missed was because I jumped in when I wasn't supposed to, which is fine for, like I said, this situation because I'm already technically done for the day. Sorry, some of these took a little while to develop. So this is another one where the first candle was a little ugly, but I went to it anyway. So you see it still worked, right? So normally speaking, this would have been one I stayed out of. But for overage, I'm fine because I got one ugly small candle, but it is technically going into this area, as you can see. And then I have a doji showing me that signs of reversal, and I have strong sell energy. So I wouldn't be really thinking buy for anything. Like I said, it's not about it what it does after. I just wanted to go for 5 seconds underneath. On to the next. So we got one decent candle. Now this one is jumping all over the place. So normally I don't know what I did, but I probably should have stayed out of this one. But I know with it being extra, I'm like, whatever. I got a long way to go, so let me just take this chance. So, boom. All right, moved up. So sorry, I had to move up to 10 because this is gonna take forever doing fives and only. Okay, so explanation. So a lot of these explanations are the same. Sorry, it's not that exciting. But what I can tell you is this something that I would have done in the first half of my day. Yeah, if that's a yes or no, I'll tell you that. But I want you to make sure you're paying attention to some of these things that I'm pointing out. So whenever you're dealing with a candle, so the candles look great. The only issue that I would have for this with the first half of my day is so technically this isn't a crossover. The crossover was all the way back here. This didn't cross at all. It just bounced off. Um, and it's really, I'm not going to, I don't want to really consider that one just yet. So I'm ready to discuss that. But um, it's really an ugly candle to get involved in. I would have normally stayed out of this one if it was the first half of the day. But the major thing is you can see how it's jumping. So if you notice how this is jumping up, down, like even at that small margin, that's still it's unpredictable. Okay, jumping doesn't mean it have to be jumping from top to bottom. But again, I have to make sure wherever I'm clicking that button that it is not going to continue to shoot back up. See how it's doing it right now? So that can happen with those jumps. So it'll work in your favor maybe a little while, but like I said, that's not normally one I would recommend getting into. But like I said, if you're dealing with your extra, you gotta take those risks. So now I'm extending my candle out because this one here, as you can see, is all going upward, but it's approaching a support zone. All right. So you see that support zone? That's a terrible line. I'm sorry. But and then of course it's going to keep moving. So you saw that support zone. Now where do I get the minute from? Quick counting. Remember, each of these let me let it go first. Guess I could have sped this up for you. I'm gonna speed it up for you. So there we go. All right, there we go. So um same clock as you can see. Or same pair as you can see. Okay, so I didn't want you guys to just watch it mess around for a minute. So let me just get to the good stuff where I activated it because that is going to keep moving. The more I, that time frame moves over to the right. Okay, so from here, one thing that you should notice, or if you didn't notice, there's a lot of upward momentum. Okay, so buy is what I'm considering. There's always going to be points of retracement, like this area, as you can see. So you got buy, you got the retracement here, but the support zone is also taken in consideration. So you got remember it's a zone, it's not like one particular area. So remember, it's where the clusters are. That's what I look for, and then I look to see what like what's following it. So what when you get to a certain point, what is forming after that to determine that this is an area where it's going to like retrace and continue in some sort of direction, right? So here you see you have large you got the large green candles, and then they're followed by small little doji-like candles. Okay, doji-like. Okay, there's a hammer. I think that one's a doji. But what I'm getting at are neutral candles. Okay, they're barely moving anywhere. It's not really much movement there. So, as I told you guys, a good rule of thumb is the third candle. The third form candle. Remember, each of these are 5 seconds. So if the third form candle is kind of similar, because to catch it at the best point is like impossible. All right. But I try depending on if I'm buying or selling, I'll try to catch it at the lowest point possible. If I'm buying, the highest point if I'm talking to sell. But it's generally around that third candle where, hey, you need to activate here or you missed out on that opportunity. Now I put a minute in initially, which is generally too long. But I did that because if you look, this is my normal 25 or 30-second time frame would not have you know, it wouldn't have worked. Okay, because again, best case scenario, I would have caught it here if I was to get into this one. So you got 5, you got 10, 15, if I can get the arrow down, 20, 25, 30, 35. So I'm at 35 and it's kind of in that same area. So by default, I didn't have a lot of time. I just threw a minute in there. Okay. So you don't have all day to make all these decisions. Okay. So that's where that part came in. And if you're looking over here, you got large candles, you got a small neutral one, you got another large one that's into the channel. And now I'm looking to see, hey, if is it going to reverse? So that third candle, this first one here is a doji, and then I think I entered maybe at the next one. So that would have been my third candle. So that was my reason for jumping in there. This is how you kind of time those reversals. I guess if you're looking at any of your other charts, if you're looking at any of your other charts, this isn't really the best example. I would normally like it to touch this area, but as you can see, there's nowhere in this area where it shows me that it's made it down that far. So I didn't use that. Again, I don't want to touch base really on this bottom chart here because I'm still testing it out, but based on that model, it's not there yet either. The only thing that I have working for me is this little combination. And actually, let me back it up some so you can see it in this actual real time. So, so third candle, and then click at some point. What time am I clicking? No specific time. I was just trying to see if it was going to get lower, and I know I had to make a decision because I got a big full candle, two big full candles, and I had one green one, so I have to like make that decision. Okay. If you're ever uneasy, that's why I changed the amount back to 5. Okay. So, and understand if you're using larger amounts, this would be equivalent to, if you're trading at 50, like when you guys saw that, and then I would probably take this one down to 20 and trade that. I wouldn't be trading at the amount that I would using like an actual process. Because again, none of this is like 100% sure. You just never know. So it's all probability based, and it's hard to keep track of everything and successes. unless you're like super organized with that stuff. This is not this thing is not something that I like retracements. That's not part of my um like my formula when I'm trying to like track stuff. So I'm just going based on what I feel in that moment. So that was the one that just activated. I'm just moving on to the next. Back to 5 second clock, and you guys can pay attention at the hour. It's the 21 hour of the day. So again, super late, tired at this point. So tired at this point, and what do we do when we get tired? We force things, right? So that's where I should have jumped in. That's where I should have jumped in, but I pressed it too late. So if I wasn't tired and I didn't mess up, I could have followed both of my processes and actually jumped in at the right candle. Sorry, I'll show you again. So first candle is a little smug one. If I didn't want to consider that as my first one, this would have been, that's the, yeah, so that would have been my entry, but I was late jumping in. And because I was late, I didn't get it. So this really is just a timing issue. If I was intending on being late and clicking on the second, then I would have been above the channel and I wouldn't have entered. So this would have been a save trade. So move on to the next one. Again, remember, super late in the day, so late in the evening. And there goes another jump. Boom, got my money back. So this is another process. We got a doji green. You got the doji green, first red, second red. And then a third one jumped on me at the last minute. Preferably, I don't want to be under the channel. But like I told you guys, blindly following, as long as it's like under the channel a little, it's not a big issue. Now it's continuing down. And just so you know, like with these oscillator tools, I do edit those to touch like the very top and bottom. Okay. So it's getting close to the 5. So I think, yeah, by default, it's like 80/20. Me, if I'm trying to see, hey, has it touched the lowest? At what point does it touch the lowest point so I can try to like time that, right? Um, I think this one was this the one I made a mistake and pressed the wrong button, not paying attention. I think so. Yeah, I think this was the dumb one I did. So again, when you're tired, you make mistakes. So I pressed buy, I think, because I was like, wait, what the heck? And then I realized what happened. So this should have been a sale that I pressed um, because all the buys are like, as you can see, there's something here that's keeping it down. Okay. So I should have pressed a sale for the long run because it's been going downward for the most part. That would have been the safest option. The time frame again comes from, again, when you're trying to time it, it's first clock, second, third, four, five, and yeah. So regardless, this would be 25 seconds here. So again, you're trying to just say like, hey, when it starts leveling out, granted, I get in on the next candle. How long does that take? So that's kind of what my like those numbers. The time frame can change based on what the chart is giving me, and you get that from just calculating here and in this area. Okay, which is a little bit uglier. All right, so maybe I should, but yeah, it wouldn't have mattered anyway because I clicked the wrong button. So um, that was my mistake. That should have been a sale. It happens. Again, we're on a 21 hour of the day. Don't trade this late. You're talking full day of work and kids, and you just have dinner and the bed looking so welcoming. You know, stuff like that happens, but I don't care. It's $5. On to the next one. We don't get discouraged. So we got late crossover. So should have stayed out of this one. We got one. Actually, should have stayed out of this one, period, because I miscounted my. candle. So technically speaking, yeah, technically speaking, if I was going to do like a blind jump in, I missed the third second mark. I should have jumped in on whatever the third second was for this candle. Okay, but I did not. So that's it. Tired. Get tired, you start doing dumb stuff. And then, yeah, actually, yeah. And even if I did the third second on the correct candle, I would have, yeah, yeah. So yeah, that was on me. So, just keep it moving. So don't trade too late, guys. But again, controlling your losses. Like I said, you'll see the turnaround. Trading above the zone. A good feel because it went above the zone here. So I took it again. Knowing what I'm trying to get to, like I rather take the trades than not. Again, this is just being transparent. I don't want to just show you all the good stuff. I want y'all to see that there are losses. You know, it happens, especially if you're just like blindly trading and doing different things. But as you can see, using process, you got more success than not. Let me go back to that one. Where did it go? Sorry, I'm cycling through these real quick. I think this was the one that, yeah, this is the one I already saw. Sorry. This is it here. I apologize. So this one, as you can see, I meant to explain it. I apologize. You got one, you got two, and you got the third one that is over that range, but it's kind of on the in that sweet spot. Okay. And again, the only reason I would consider that it would, it's kind of like the opposite of the other one. All right. So you really want to be close to the bottom of that, or the top of that channel. You don't want to go too far away from it and straight. Now, the only reason I felt good about that is because over here it's showing me that it goes over. Over here it's showing me that it goes over. I didn't have a chance to look at this one, but those were the two that made me feel okay with jumping in. And again, it's just $5. I'm like, worst case scenario, I can get it back. So that one hit. Then we move on to next up life. As you can see, also with this one, um, cross really didn't happen that well, but this is pointing upward again. Don't want to jump on the next, that RSI just yet. And you can see a lot of this, unfortunately, if you're trading later into the day. You just you have to understand it's more steady in terms of direction, but in terms of everything looking beautiful, it's not going to be there. Right? Not all the time. It takes time. But again, that's why, I say do 5 trades, make sure you're compounding your earnings so you can get in and out. Don't do this. This is the slowest method. And that one activated late. Should have been a little bit further down, but who cares? Boom. Okay, so let's go to it. And remember, with this new process that I'm showing you, you don't need it to like cross fully. As long as it's near crossing, that's fine because you're jumping in a little bit early. So so I don't even know because I clicked it on 2 or on the 3 closer to 2, but it jumped back up on me. So make sure you're paying attention. So when you enable that timer, it helps you because sometimes that timer will freeze up on you and the server for such and such pocket options, it'll, yeah, get stagnant on you. You don't want that as an issue. So if it starts to do that, log out. Don't go in and trade money when you can't see what's going on in real time. So we're up to 46 again, right? Now I'm doing $10. I'm tired at this point. So we're at 21 hours, 47 minutes. Remember, 21-hour clock. So this one process just didn't work. I followed it to a T, ish, I should say. So if oh no, I didn't follow to a T. I don't know what I was doing. Well, but if I did, I came in late, so I don't think so. That's the second. So either way, this one wouldn't have worked. I can't even see where it was at 3. Hold on. Yeah, so this is me being tired and just hoping that it bounced off the bottom. I'm sorry, let me get to it. So that's the third second there. So it did a quick drop down. So remember I told you guys first half of the day, if you get a quick drop down like that, you don't get involved because it can play against you, especially if it's in the favorable direction, because it's not going to drop down all the time, then drop back up. So you see how it's dropping down quickly? First half of the day, that's a no-go. You stay out of this one. This would have been one I could have saved $10. But with the time, I'm trying to go to sleep. So y'all get it. So this is another one I shouldn't have jumped in, but this is another gut feeling based on zone. Sorry to go fast with this, but we are here with a zone. Okay, overall, it's giving me more up energy than down. So I took it for a buy. This is not a process thing. This is just me going off of feelings of what I see and sticking to my guns. Now, oscillator, I have room to go up to 94. So that's a quick thing that I'm looking at. Remember, you see here at 94, it's touching, that's this area here. Hopefully you guys can see this, but that's this area here, right here is this area here. So as you can see here, it's going back up. I have a lot more room where it can potentially hook again. So I do a buy. And then again, there's a zone in this area, which would be equivalent to that area. Okay. So we got that, and then you have the early cross here. So I am fine. If I was using RSI, again, still have more room to get to the 75. So this is another experience thing. Now I'm back to 41 again. Yay, right? So now we're going closer to the bottom. As you can see, my number 5. I'm sorry, I got the arrow still there. Um, we're getting close to that number 5 here. So I'm hitting this bottom. So I click for a buy, right? What did you guys see? You see two big candles followed by a doji, red, and then that third candle, I'm in there for the opposite direction. Now, time frame wise, where do I come up with this stuff, right? So 25 is a good default number. Did I do 25? I think I did 25. 25 is a good default number. I think I just changed it back. Let me see. All right, let me go to it. Da, 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 da. So 30 seconds. Sorry. So 25 is a good default number. Maybe I didn't have time to do 25. I don't know. Tired. Anyway, look at the time. All right. So, again, time frame wise, you want to you want to make a decision how long, like it stays stagnant before it goes one direction or another. So that's where I come up with the time frame. So I'm looking at prior information that I can see that's visible. I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8-ish. Okay. But again, I'm not going to start at the very first one that I see because that'll be like pure luck, right? So I'm looking at really the third candle on this side. This right here is where I'm starting my count at, and it's 30 seconds seem to be appropriate. 30 seconds, 25 seconds, both would have worked. And then again, you're just looking for something that's going to indicate that there's a reversal. So the indication is, we're at my bottom, which is a 5. Again, these are customizable. So if you could just move it to the very top of what you see on the chart and the very bottom of you see the chart, do it. You can customize RSI the same way. As you can see, RSI here bounces all the way at the top and comes back down. If I see charts are going above these lines, I'll just edit them and change them. Because again, I'm trying to time like the reversal. I don't really care about how much room I have up or down. I'm trying to see, hey, at what point does it turn around? Like that's the key thing. So, we're at $50. All right, $50. So what's that? Normally I'd have been at 25, 50, 75, 100, 125, been done, but mm-mm. I'm like this approach ain't it, but this is for you guys. So hopefully you guys like, subscribe, all that stuff. Shout out to the 28. When I get 2,000, I'm gonna be excited if that happens. But I won't. It's about helping people. Teach one what I know. Go through my journey with me. Hopefully you guys appreciate it. Don't worry about any Patreon or anything, because like I said, I mean, I'm working now and this is giving me success, so I'm not willing to charge anybody for stuff that they can find out on their own. I just want people to be successful because that's what it's about, right? So here is my entry for the sale. Um, why did I do that? Honestly, another gut feeling, right? So I tried to time this better, but sometimes like you can't. So right there. So as you can see right here, it touched and it was playing around a little before it went down. It's touching right here. So this is all reversal. Like I said, I didn't want to go too much into this one with you guys, but this is also higher than it's ever been in these areas. Okay, so it's high here and it's almost touching that line. In these areas, it doesn't touch it, but it goes high before it goes back down. So I use those two methods. And then the last part was, man, what kind of candle am I going to get it at the very top? So I didn't get the ideal candle, but again, as you can see, to control my risk, what am I trading? $5. So who cares? So it's playing around. I'm trying to decide when I'm going to jump in, and I would have jumped in a little bit earlier if I could have, but it jumped down on me. As you guys saw, I mean, I guess you can sit here and be patient for 25 seconds. I guess we can see if the process part would not, if we wouldn't have did the process because it didn't go through anyway. So now you have an opportunity somewhere where the actual main process of the crossover strategy I've been showing you hasn't even been done yet. So, and then let's say you did do the crossover. Well, I changed it, so I don't know. I guess I was gonna see if the crossover would work because sometimes you'll see like opportunities. You get all your opportunities honestly on one or two candles. I think this one I just was doing whatever. What did I do? Oh, I did a sale. Okay, no. So this one was justified. Just didn't work out good. I remember this one because I was like, what the heck? But again, to control risk, $5. So this one, I was expecting it to reverse off of but then I don't have any evidence of any real reversals. It just gets stagnant and goes back up. So this is just me being stupid. I should have been paying attention better. Let me go back a little to see if I can catch any of the prior. Sorry, I went back too far. Let me just let that one rock out real quick. Um, Come on, switch. Okay. So, no. Okay. So this one, I don't know. I should have stayed with a buy because I don't have enough information, honestly, to time a real retraction. So in the long run, it's been in the sell. It's kind of neutral here, and now it's going up into a buy. So if I should have been doing anything, I should have waited for like this red period here to come about and then go in for a buy as opposed to project a sell because there's nothing on here that is telling me sell. Again, this is another issue of, I mean, like I said, 24-hour clock. It's the 21 hour at 56 minutes. Okay. It's later than I trade. I've been up since 5 o'clock. I generally get up every morning at 5 a.m. So I'm tired. All right. So should have stayed out of this one. This one I shouldn't even jump in here at all. If I did, I would have should have jumped in as a buy, but I wouldn't have jumped in, I guess, during the time frame that you would have seen it because there's nothing that's giving me any neutral event like this. Okay, like a different color is what I'm saying. Reversal. It's just giving me small candles and still going upward. So this was my fault completely, which happens. But again, $5, so who cares? So let's get our money back, or hopefully. So we're at $50 still. So remember, most of these misses have been for me not following process, me doing things that I know I shouldn't do. And this one was a mistake with the time frame. So now I'm doing dumb stuff because I'm sleepy. I could be transparent to say that. I have one weak candle. I got one good candle. I shouldn't even jumped into this one based on process. Um, but it did work out. So, I mean, count it if you want to. It doesn't matter. I guess it matters for the sake of the video because it added to my total, right? So that one I would have technically stayed out of. And this one was a good trade. The only issue that I would say in terms of first half of the day, I guess I felt guilty about getting the other one, so I had to balance it out, right? So as you can see, I'm on the wrong time. At the third second, it was further down than I generally like. So it depends on what clock I'm looking at or what candle I'm considering. So if this was like first half of the day, I technically want this one to look a little bit stronger, but also, I mean, honestly, this is a terrible channel. This channel is very small. So this would be one that I would stay out of for like my first five. But again, we're taking risk on the extra money. It's extra money at the end of the day. I'm still up. Okay, it's just and honestly, with this 54, if I made it down to 25 again, I would just stop. Okay, so don't blow the whole extra. Always go into the next day with a little bit of something. That way you have more. I guess you have less of a goal to shoot for the next day because you're never going to be like spot on. If your goal is $100 or even one of those charts that I showed you, if your goal is there, you're going to miss something or possibly and be off or way over than what you expected. This is another process one. As you can see, everything is indicating up. We got three weak candles, but weak channel, but overall the trend that zigzag is going upward. Um, we're there. All right, so I'm just following the process. Like I said, you could do a blind follow. You'll have more success than not. Just don't jump in it, obviously, if it's in that red zone. So we technically have three touching that first one. That's where the wick is touching. It's just ugly. So now this is the third one. Did I jump in? Yes. Why? I don't know. But either way, like I said, if you blind follow, you'll get there. So this is what I was telling you guys. Like the blind follow, you'll have more success if you just do like, oh, third second I'm entering. But I would recommend if you're doing that, do smaller amounts just because, like I said, probability wise, you'll have more wins than losses, but you don't want to count on that if you're using larger numbers. So this one, um, it is just because if you guys can't see it, this is the zone here. Oh, sorry. It's a little bit under, it's a little bit there, right in that area. Okay, so as you can see, I'm over the area. But I'm gonna jump in it anyway because, like I said, it's late. I got to get this thing rolling. I got to get up in a few hours. So, would have stayed out of this on a normal day, but again, follow the process. It'll work out for you. Again, if you're comfortable doing just straight amounts of $5 or $10, just do six trades. You just want six successful trades. After that, kind of stop because if you do too many, you're gonna tire yourself out. So one up, so that's a jump. This is jumping around too much. Should have stayed out of this one. In real life, I don't like all that jumping. So real life being, obviously this is a real account, but real life meaning like during first half of the day, don't get involved in those. But at this point, I'm desperate. Look at the time. So I hope you guys appreciate this. All right. So this one, I guess I'm timing for, yeah. So you see how it's under my 5, it's under my 25. So I'm looking for a reversal, honestly. See, the last time it touched 25, it bounced up on the RSI. So I'm just looking for that sweet spot. So $5 again, not risking too much. Like I said, goal is to get over 100. And the time frame wise, like I said, 25 is just a good time frame. I mean, you can see it in your charts. So remember, you got the three good red ones, and then you got two like neutral reds, and then that's like where you want to be. Okay. This one's another one. Looks like it's going to the top. It's hit 94 on the oscillator. Now it's starting to turn down. I'm too late to do the 25 approach is what I'm assuming. So now I'm gonna see if I can do five. We got one, two. Now I'm looking for the timer. Now I'm in the red zone, and I'm making a decision to do it anyway. Follow the process blindly, and it works. Okay, $76 there, 22 hours, 15 minutes. Whew, I'm tired looking at it. I'm not doing this anymore. I ain't gonna lie to y'all. Again, this is like I could have been done a long time ago if I was just like not focused on number. And that's why I don't like that dangling fruit situation. Because if you start to, this is another one touching five. It's over to 25, or yeah, it's under 25, and it's starting to turn around. So I'm looking to see if I can get a buy. Time frame 25 seconds, just because that's a good time. Really don't even remember how this one played out, but we'll see here shortly. Uh, Either way, regardless of how this plays out, this would be a good trade. And again, remember, you're not looking for the cross with these. You're looking for to catch it at the base, essentially. So, um, hopefully you guys are seeing this because this is literally how you study your charts. I mean, you can move into whatever time frames you want. 5 seconds, like I said, if you have multiple ways of trading, you just want to use the same tools. And if you're doing that and you really can tell what's going on, you'll catch patterns. And really, that's what's going to help you to make those split decisions so that you can boom, 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 knock it out. Okay. So here, hitting the 94, hitting the 75. I'm in for a sale at the 25 because I'm assuming it's going to continue down. Um, Now, realistically, I don't know why I made that assumption, but again, it's late. Because again, they're not, it's not going downward here, it just went neutral. So I probably again made a stupid mistake where I shouldn't have jumped in, but it's okay because whatever I was doing, I didn't feel too good about it since I put $5 up on it. Okay, so again, learn from my mistakes. If it's giving you neutral, that doesn't mean it's turning around. It's just saying that it's going to be stagnant. So if you're going to jump in on something like that, just go with the direction of the trend. Don't go against it. But again, not sweating it because it was just $5. One candle, two candle, upward pitch, crossover on a MACD. Now it went back down. But I'm tired. I'm trying to get this over with. So I know it's going to retrace. So again, sorry. This is a feeling thing. And I ain't going to say sorry. The only part that I made a mistake on was the time. I meant to do 5 seconds, not 25. So margin of error. So obviously a hit, but the goal was for it to hit at 5 seconds, not the 25 seconds. So let me go back into this. So it's the second candle. So the third second. So the only reason I felt good about this one is because at the third second, if I can hit the button, and I promise we are almost done. Like I said, once I get to the 100, the video's over. Okay. So I felt good about this one, regardless, because this entire area is a zone. Now, I didn't know it was going to make it all the way down here. I thought it was going to activate like here, but I knew there was going to be a bounce back. Okay, so we got big zone, we got a major zone. All right, this is a large cluster. You know, it's showing signs of large cluster and going up. Okay, this one large cluster then went down, but that's fine. I got more going up than down, right? But anyway, so you got large clusters. And before reversals, you got early cross. Technically speaking, I had the two candles, and then I expect this to be pitching down, so that's not even an issue. So we're not focused too much on that part. So this is another gut feeling thing. If you did the third second, or you did the third second, regardless. So, but if you were following process, you would have stayed out of this one. But if I did 5 seconds, it would have activated, obviously. It activated into 25. So this is a good trade, but again, this is more so filling than particular process because, per process, you would have stayed out of this one. Well, technically speaking, nope, let me reverse. Per process, you would have been good. So if you follow process, I'm sorry, this would have been your one, this would have been your two, and then this would have been your three. So keep an eye on those. I'm gonna just reverse the candle, reverse the time to see, or rewind the time. So that's two. Hold on, let me get to three. Where was it at three? So five, four, three. All right, so three is, oh, is that going to, three was like right at the top. So you wouldn't have jumped in unless you was taking a risk. But let's just see. If you did jump in, that's where it was. So yeah, you would have got it. This is where you would have checked out at. So if you follow process blindly, even if went outside the zone, but it went outside the zone a little. So like I said, if outside a little is not a big issue. It's if it's a big jump, you want to stay out of it. If the ones prior to are going out, big jump, and it goes back into your zone, stay out of it. Okay. So let's keep it rolling. So regardless, process or not process, this would have worked out. All right, so we're creeping around the bottom again, and I'm just trying to see what I'm going to get. So last time it touched the bottom, it went up a little. That's this part here. I'm just seeing if it's going to buy. Not 100% sure what it's going to do, so we protect our money and go to five. So in perspective, again, if you're trading $50, $60 trades, this would be equivalent to a 20, okay? Do not do even trades with these types of situations. There's no certainty of what's going to happen. Okay. So by all standards, I felt like this one, yeah. So this is another one. I don't know what I was thinking actually, because I'm timing a buy, not saying that there is no buy energy. So this is kind of like the reverse of the other ones that I've been doing. Again, 22 hour, 28 minutes. Sorry. All right. I should have been looking for a sale opportunity, obviously, because again, and I don't care about being transparent for the internet. It is what it is. If I was on this side of the spectrum, buy, but on this side where everything's going down, remember, sell, 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 sell. Pay attention. Don't make these mistakes that I'm making, tired mistakes, because you're seeing neutral candles, but understand after the neutral. After those neutral candles, what's happening afterwards? A dip, neutral candle, dip, neutral candle, dip. Like that should be the format that you're following. The other side where I was messing up, I was doing neutral candle and it was showing buy, neutral candle buy, and I kept doing sell. So I got in the habit of trying to time like the top end, bottom end, and do the opposite when I should have just been sticking with the motion because I was confusing myself with the oscillator and the RSI. Okay, so you use these tools to help you, but you still got to understand what the chart is showing you. Okay. So you can either stay out of those when it's giving you that energy or go in the actual direction of the trade. And maybe I would have been done with this trade and stuff already for the night. So continue on, change the time frame. Now I'm close to my goal and I'm like, let me just follow process if I can. Um, so sell, we got, so I think something just froze up. It's jumping all over the place, looking crazy. So that's not me doing that. I should have stayed out of this because I don't like that jumping stuff, but it worked. Okay. So follow process, it works. But again, if you guys are noticing that where it's jumping around, or if you saw the timer on that, it was freezing, you don't get involved. But this is me being desperate because I'm sleepy. So third candle, again, it's underneath. Should have stayed out of it because that's not part of my process. And I lost my money again. So remember, third candle, I was hoping for a bounce back, but the part where I should have been more respecting of, where's it at? So it's right on the line. So it's not really a bad thing to do, but I was hoping it was going to shoot back up, right? I was hoping it was going to shoot back up. But yeah. I don't have really an excuse. It's just I said, a moment of desperation. Shouldn't have jumped into it anyway, but I was seeming like, man, I'm almost done. Let me just get two more trades and be done with this so I can keep it rolling. So normally speaking, wouldn't have been involved in that one. This second one, um, I'm considering if I should be jumping in because that first candle jumped out the chart and they're still doing that diving thing, but risk it anyway. So per process, I mean, it worked. Get my money back. I'm not sweating it. But so first candle, as you can see, that first red candle's weak. Second one is the big one that's going all the way through. So I feel fine if the other one was kind of like similar and they were kind of like gradually descending. But technically speaking, I wouldn't have jumped into that one right then and there because it just jumped down. So jump down, I'm assuming it's going to jump back up, which it did. And now it's doing too much jumping. I'm not really too comfortable in the real world. So what do? We do $5, right? $5. If it misses, it misses. But I'm not going to do 10 because I don't want to be down 10 if it jumps back up on me. All right, so for process, it works. It's just be mindful of that jumping. That's generally not a good sign to risk. Small jumps are fine, but big ones like that one, you don't, like you'll see them. Like I said, the more you do it, you'll get an idea of what I'm talking about. These are weak candles, but we're at $5 again, so I got to get this over with. So now I'm thinking just, like I said, it's more so understanding what's going on. We got weak momentum going upward, but we got a cross. Sorry, let me actually back it up. We got weak momentum going upward. Where did I activate? So we got weak momentum going upward. In terms of process, this is not a process-oriented entry. Everything else is showing neutral, neutral, neutral. So this is all just gut feeling and instinct. Um, Typically speaking, 5 seconds, like I said, is algorithm based. It has the system is going as people are entering in. As people are entering in, as you can see all these green entries, it's going to pull back at some point. When it does pull back, it will reflect that same momentum at some point. So it's really just the educated guess, just using experience, guys. That's all it really is. Like I said, you'll get a feel for it as you continue to trade because you'll see stuff like this happen. And when you recognize it again, all you do is just control what you can lose, right? Control what you can lose and you enter. Don't be afraid to trade. If you're afraid to trade, you won't make any money doing this. If you're afraid to be wrong, you won't make anything doing this. So you have to make sure that you are being like an active trader, man. Like you got to take those chances, all right? Otherwise, you're not going to get any money, man. I promise. All right. So this is another one that's showing upward momentum. The only difference is I have one area that I actually saw it dip down some by a small margin. So this one was intentionally done. This wasn't really a stupid move. Now, if it worked out, I don't know, but I don't remember. Oh, okay, I guess it did. So, but again, wasn't like these situations, we use smaller amounts. So again, if it was all neutral going up, all neutral or going up, all neutral going up, I would stay out of it. In this case, it went down on the prior one, so that was actually a good trade. Okay, so we're at 89. We got one candle, two candle. Now we got I don't okay, I'm looking for the bottom to touch. So don't see it, leave out of it. Looking for another opportunity. So again, please don't trade this way where you're just doing $5 trying to make it to $100. This is extremely too much error could happen and you don't want to play with your money. So if you're doing $5 trades and stuff of that nature, that's cool, but draw the line at 6 trades. 6 good trades, stop. Go to the next day, get to that 100 mark where then you can get your money. But you find yourself doing dumb stuff if you keep at it too long. Like like this. This is another one where I shouldn't even jump in it, but I was testing my support zone theory. Remember, support zones are here. They're actually here. Sorry, it's a zone. It's not any particular point. And it's like, honestly, if I did it right, I would have pressed it a little bit. I would have allowed it to go down some more. So I would have, if I was thinking about it, I would have activated the next candle to check out right there at the five. Well, it should be a 15-second mark or 25-second mark. But again, just trying to hurry up and finish. 22 hours, 41 minutes. So back to $5. Let's control it. Let's reel it in some. We got it. Doji, we got 3 candles entered in where you're supposed to. Crossover didn't happen yet, but like I said, following process more than anything. And we got one. So this one I technically would have stayed out of because it already crossed into the zone, went back up, then crossed again. But again, control what you can look what you're losing, follow process, and you got it. Okay. So almost there. We almost at the point of being done. So now I'm like, I'm finished. I'm sorry guys. I was doing 5 and 10s, but I had to bump it up because I'm, because I'm like, I can't, yeah. We're at the 22-hour, 47-minute mark. And at this point, I'm just tired. So I'm trying to find one good one to finish up with so I can be done. And here's the moment of truth. Do I need to do a drum roll? Probably not. So this one, I followed more of my process. And I'm sorry, I just started the video over. As it stopped on me. So this one, I'm trying to get to it. So this one, I'm sorry, it's real close. So this one, I didn't count that first one as the first one. That first like one where you see. Oh, I guess I can show you. So I didn't count this candle first. Okay, I counted that big body, right? Because this is my last trade, I'm doing $12. I'm trying to stop. So uh, I just follow process. As you can see with this entire setup, all of these are like really weak candles. It's like real weak movement. So I was just projecting from this area to here that there was going to be some weak movement. So I wasn't worried about too much jumping around. So I just stuck with it, got to where I need to get to, and finish. Okay. So again, I did this to give you guys a realistic approach of how the trading is done using more than just one process. Like up to this point, I think I've only been showing like whatever I've been showing, right? But here, you've been seeing support zones. You've been seeing how you can catch dips and bounce backs. You've been catching the obviously my crossover process. You've been seeing the ones that you shouldn't jump in. So hopefully you're getting an idea of what this looks like. Practice, practice, practice is all I can tell you. But please do it. And again, control what you lose and give yourself some grace. Okay. To start again, to me, if you're new at this, I recommend starting at that $10 mark. Because again, doing 10 to 15 to 20 to 25, 35 is good. Or if you do the 10, 10, 10, and 12, 12, what was it? 10, 10, 10, 12, 12, 15, 15, 15. Like those are deep, those are good numbers. Like you have to understand you're not going to be there forever. So you do it for a few days, build up your personal account so now you can feel like you can graduate to the next level. Because once you starting off at 20, $25, like okay, so you'll be good. So um hopefully you guys appreciate it. I try to keep this one short and I think I succeeded with that. So thank you. Until next time.